There's a moment I'll never forget. A patient named Margaret in her late 60s walked into my office with tears in her eyes. Not from sadness, but from the ache that had stolen her mornings. Every step felt like walking on broken glass. She told me she missed gardening, missed kneeling in the soil, missed the joy of chasing her grandchildren through the yard. Arthritis had crept into her life like an uninvited guest, slowly locking doors to the things she loved. But here's the twist. Relief doesn't only come from pills or injections. It can also come from your plate. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. Today, I'll share with you the top 10 vegetables proven to ease arthritis pain and inflammation, and I'll explain exactly how they work inside your body. Let's step together into a world where food becomes medicine. When I talk about broccoli, many people imagine the overcooked florets they were forced to eat as children, mushy and bland. But when you look closer, broccoli is one of nature's most powerful medicines for aching joints. Imagine your cartilage, the soft cushion between your bones, as a delicate sponge. Over time, enzymes begin to gnaw away at it, like tiny moths chewing through fabric. Broccoli contains a compound called sulforaphane that acts like a protective shield, blocking those destructive enzymes and slowing the moths before they can do damage. I once had a patient, Samuel, who was skeptical. He joked, "Doc, you really think broccoli is going to save my knees?" 6 months later, after adding steamed broccoli 3 times a week, paired with a drizzle of olive oil, he returned with less stiffness and more energy to walk his dog every morning. Science backs this too. A 2013 study from the University of East Anglia found sulforaphane not only slowed cartilage damage in lab models, but also reduced inflammation markers that drive arthritis pain. And beyond that, broccoli is packed with vitamin C to boost collagen, vitamin K to protect bones, and antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin to mop up free radicals, those sparks of damage that worsen swelling. Lightly steamed, crisp and bright green, broccoli can become more than food. It becomes armor for your joints. Spinach may look delicate with its tender green leaves, but inside it carries a pharmacy's worth of healing compounds. Picture your joints as hinges on a gate. Over years of weather, rust begins to set in, slowing the swing and making every movement creak. Spinach acts like a gentle oil on those hinges, keeping them smooth and flexible. Its secret lies in its antioxidants, especially lutein, which helps calm the flames of inflammation, and beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A to repair tissue. I remember Elaine, a retired teacher in her 70s, who came to me frustrated because her hands cramped whenever she tried to write birthday cards to her grandchildren. She added fresh spinach to her morning smoothies and sautéed it lightly with garlic at dinner. Within weeks, she told me, "I feel like my hands belong to me again." That sense of control, of reclaiming simple joys, is priceless. Spinach is also rich in vitamin K, essential for keeping bones strong and reducing the risk of fractures. Its magnesium supports muscle relaxation, while iron helps oxygen flow to tissues, giving you stamina to keep moving. And the vitamin C it holds aids in collagen building, strengthening the cushion in your joints. One handful of raw spinach in a salad, or a quick toss in a skillet with olive oil, becomes a powerful ally. And here's a key. When paired with healthy fats like avocado or nuts, spinach's nutrients absorb even better. It's proof that sometimes the smallest leaves carry the greatest strength. Sweet potatoes are more than just comfort food on a holiday table. They're a deep orange promise of healing for joints that have grown weary. Think of their vibrant color as nature's way of waving a flag, saying, "I'm packed with beta-carotene." Inside your body, beta-carotene transforms into vitamin A, which acts like a repair crew, patching up damage caused by inflammation and oxidative stress. Alongside this, sweet potatoes deliver vitamin C, helping your body build collagen, the scaffolding that keeps cartilage strong and resilient. I recall one gentleman named Harold, a former postman who walked miles every day for decades. After retirement, his knees protested every step, and he missed his long morning strolls. He began adding roasted sweet potatoes to his dinners 3 times a week. The combination of potassium in the tubers, which balances fluid and eases swelling, and magnesium, which relaxes muscles, gave him the relief he hadn't felt in years. He smiled one afternoon and said, "Doc, I can finally walk the long block again." What makes sweet potatoes especially powerful is their low glycemic index. They provide steady energy without spiking blood sugar, a key factor for those managing both arthritis and conditions like diabetes. Their fiber nourishes the gut microbiome, which scientists now know plays a central role in regulating inflammation throughout the body. When your gut is healthy, your joints often feel the benefit. Baking, steaming, or roasting them locks in nutrients, and when paired with a drizzle of olive oil or served alongside greens, they transform into a dish that doesn't just feed you, it heals you from within. Kale is often called the king of leafy greens, but for aching joints, it may be closer to a knight in shining armor. Its deep green leaves are loaded with quercetin, a natural compound that behaves like a firefighter, rushing to extinguish the flames of inflammation before they spread. If you think of arthritis as a slow-burning fire that never quite goes out, kale helps keep the sparks from leaping into a blaze. A patient named Rosa once told me she felt trapped by her arthritis. She loved dancing at family gatherings, but had stopped because of hip pain. We worked on small changes together, and one of them was blending kale into her morning smoothies with pineapple and yogurt. Within a couple of months, she was back on the dance floor, her movements easier, her spirit lighter. She said, "I feel like myself again." That kind of transformation shows how food can restore not just health, but joy. Kale also carries a wealth of vitamin C, vital for collagen formation, which strengthens the connective tissue that cushions every joint. Its vitamin K ensures calcium goes where it should, into bones, not into soft tissues where it can cause harm. And though many don't realize it, kale also contains small amounts of omega-3 fatty acids, the same anti-inflammatory fats found in fish, working quietly to reduce stiffness and swelling. What I love about kale is its versatility. Massage it gently with olive oil to soften it for salads, toss it into soups, or saute it lightly with garlic. Every leaf is like a shield, protecting your joints from further wear. When combined with healthy fats, the nutrients are absorbed even better, turning a simple meal into a powerful step toward mobility and independence. Carrots may seem humble, often tucked into soups or served as a side dish, but their bright orange color carries a promise of strength for your joints. Imagine the cartilage in your knees as a cushion that absorbs the shock of every step. Over time, constant wear begins to thin it out, leaving bone to grind on bone. Carrots, rich in beta-carotene, act like reinforcement material, protecting that cushion from further damage and reducing the oxidative stress that speeds up joint aging. One woman I recall, Denise, was in her early 60s and loved painting. But her fingers stiffened so much that holding a brush felt like holding a block of stone. She started juicing carrots every morning, sometimes adding a bit of ginger for flavor. Weeks later, she came back with a sparkle in her eyes and paint stains on her hands again. She whispered, "I'm painting sunsets without pain." That kind of recovery, though modest, meant the world to her. Carrots also supply vitamin C, which helps your body knit collagen fibers together like a tailor mending torn fabric. Their potassium supports fluid balance, easing swelling around inflamed joints, and their natural sweetness makes them enjoyable enough to eat raw, ensuring the nutrients remain intact. Interestingly, cooking carrots lightly can make beta-carotene more available, meaning that a simple roasted carrot can sometimes nourish more deeply than a raw one. So whether you crunch them raw from the fridge, blend them into a smoothie, or roast them until their edges caramelize, carrots become more than a snack. They become small, sweet allies in your quest for joint pain relief and freedom of movement. Every bite carries you closer to a life where stiffness no longer dictates your day. Brussels sprouts may be small, but inside each little green globe is a powerhouse of protection for your joints. Think of them as the younger cousins of broccoli, carrying the same family secret, sulforaphane. This compound acts like a security guard, stopping enzymes that would otherwise chip away at the cartilage, cushioning your bones. For anyone living with arthritis, that means Brussels sprouts can help slow the gradual erosion that leads to stiffness and pain. I once worked with a gentleman named George, a retired carpenter in his 70s. Years of kneeling and lifting heavy wood had worn down his knees. He didn't like the idea of supplements or fancy powders, as he called them, but he was willing to try food as medicine. We added roasted Brussels sprouts with olive oil and garlic to his dinners a few nights each week. Months later, he told me proudly, I can get down on the floor to play with my grandkids and actually get back up without wincing. That's the kind of victory that matters most. Beyond sulforaphane, Brussels sprouts bring a rich supply of vitamin K to strengthen bones and lower fracture risk, vitamin C to help build collagen, and antioxidants that calm inflammation like cool water on hot embers. They also contain fiber, which nourishes the gut. And when your gut microbiome thrives, systemic inflammation often fades, taking pressure off sore joints. Even omega-3 fatty acids, though usually associated with fish, appear in these tiny vegetables, giving them another anti-inflammatory edge. When roasted until the edges caramelize, Brussels sprouts become sweet and nutty, a far cry from the bitter taste many remember from childhood. Sautéed with garlic or tossed into a warm salad, they prove that sometimes the smallest foods carry the greatest healing for your body and your spirit. Bell peppers are like jewels in the vegetable world, glowing in shades of red, yellow, orange, and green. But beyond their beauty lies a treasure chest of nutrients that can ease joint pain and protect against inflammation. Imagine your cartilage as a rubber band. Over years, it begins to dry out and fray. Vitamin C, which bell peppers carry in abundance, acts like a gentle conditioner, restoring elasticity and helping the body rebuild collagen so that the band holds strong. I think often of Linda, a vibrant woman in her late 50s who adored cooking for her large family. Arthritis in her hands made chopping vegetables painful, and she began avoiding the kitchen altogether. After learning that red bell peppers contain some of the highest levels of vitamin C and antioxidants, she decided to give them a try. She roasted them, added them to soups, even blended them into sauces. Months later, she told me, "Doc, I'm cooking again, and my grandkids say my peppers taste like candy." That simple joy of returning to the heart of her home meant everything. Bell peppers also hold beta-carotene and quercetin, antioxidants that act like shields, blocking the free radicals that otherwise spark inflammation in damaged joint tissue. Red peppers especially are loaded with these compounds, making them the star of the pepper family for arthritis pain relief. Beyond joints, these nutrients strengthen the immune system, helping the body stand resilient against illness. Whether you enjoy them raw for a crisp snack, roasted until sweet, grilled alongside fish, or sautéed into a stir-fry, bell peppers bring vibrancy and healing to the plate. Each bite is like a burst of sunshine, brightening not only your meal but your path toward less stiffness, more mobility, and a life filled once more with color and movement. Garlic may be small, just a simple clove tucked inside a papery skin, but for aching joints it works like a potent medicine wrapped in humble clothes. Inside garlic lies allicin, a natural compound that behaves like a wise negotiator, stepping into the body's fiery debates of inflammation and gently persuading the flames to quiet down. For someone living with arthritis, this means less swelling, less stiffness, and more freedom to move without wincing. I'll never forget Maria, a retired nurse who had spent decades caring for others. By the time she reached her 70s, rheumatoid arthritis had left her hands swollen and sore, making even buttoning a blouse difficult. She began adding raw garlic into her salad dressings and lightly cooking it into her soups. Over time, she noticed not just improved mobility, but fewer flare-ups that used to keep her awake at night. She laughed one day and said, "Who knew the secret was hiding in my spice rack all along?" Science agrees with her experience. Studies show that garlic's sulfur compounds can help block pathways that fuel chronic inflammation. These same compounds protect cartilage from enzymatic damage, like a guardian preserving the soft tissues that cushion our joints. On top of that, garlic provides antioxidants such as selenium and vitamin C, which neutralize free radicals, the unstable sparks that accelerate joint damage. The beauty of garlic is its versatility. Crush it raw into a dressing for maximum potency, saute it lightly for a mellow sweetness, or roast it until it becomes creamy and spreadable. Each method still carries healing. For some, garlic supplements may be an option, but I always advise speaking with a healthcare provider first. Still, for most, adding garlic to meals is an easy, delicious way to season food and season life with less pain and more resilience. Onions may bring tears to your eyes when you slice them, but inside they carry gifts that can bring real relief to aching joints. Their power lies in quercetin, a natural compound that works like a skilled locksmith, turning off the molecular switches that trigger inflammation. For someone living with arthritis, this means fewer flare-ups, less swelling, and a chance to reclaim the simple joys of daily movement. One of my patients, Thomas, was a retired mechanic whose fingers had grown stiff from years of gripping tools. He told me he dreaded mornings because his hands felt like rusted pliers that wouldn't open. I suggested he try adding red onions to his diet, raw in salads, gently caramelized with olive oil, even stirred into soups. Months later, he returned smiling, flexing his hands with ease and said, "Doc, I'm back to working on my old cars." That sense of independence was priceless to him. Onions are more than quercetin. They also carry sulfur compounds that act like glue for connective tissue, strengthening the bonds in cartilage so it can better cushion the joints. Their vitamin C content adds another layer of support by helping the body produce collagen, the material that keeps those cushions resilient. And with their fiber, onions nurture a healthy gut microbiome, which we now know plays a direct role in regulating inflammation throughout the body. Red onions, in particular, offer extra potency thanks to anthocyanins, the pigments that give them their color and add even more anti-inflammatory strength. Whether raw and sharp, slowly caramelized to sweetness, or simmered in a hearty stew, onions become more than flavor. They become medicine for the joints, woven seamlessly into the fabric of everyday meals. Sometimes the tears they bring to your eyes are just the beginning of the healing they bring to your life. Tomatoes are like little suns captured in fruit form, bursting with color and flavor. But beyond their beauty lies a nutrient called lycopene, a pigment that acts like armor for your joints. Lycopene is a powerful antioxidant that calms the flames of inflammation and shields cartilage from damage. Interestingly, tomatoes actually become more potent when cooked because heat unlocks higher levels of lycopene, making that bowl of tomato soup or slow-simmered sauce not just comfort food, but healing food. I think of Eleanor, a widow in her 70s who loved making pasta dinners for her family. Arthritis in her hips made it painful to stand long in the kitchen, but she found joy in simmering tomato sauce while seated nearby. Over time, she noticed her stiffness easing, her walks through the garden growing longer. She told me with a twinkle in her eye, "My grandchildren think it's my secret recipe. Really, it's the tomatoes doing the magic." Tomatoes also carry vitamin C, which supports collagen production, beta-carotene that fights oxidative stress, and potassium that helps reduce water retention and swelling in inflamed joints. Together, these nutrients create a symphony of protection, working quietly in the background to make each step, each movement, a little easier. And they're endlessly versatile. Slice them fresh into salads, roast them with olive oil for richness, blend them into soups, or stew them into sauces. Pairing tomatoes with olive oil not only enhances flavor, but helps the body absorb lycopene more efficiently. With every bite, you're feeding your joints what they need to stay strong, flexible, and pain-free. Tomatoes remind us that healing doesn't always come in a bottle. It can come bubbling on the stove, shared with family, warming both body and soul. So here's what I hope you take away. Every vegetable we've talked about, whether it's broccoli, garlic, peppers, or tomatoes, carries its own healing power. Together, they form a toolbox nature has given us to fight inflammation, protect cartilage, and bring relief to stiff, aching joints. Even small changes, adding a handful of spinach to your breakfast or roasting some Brussels sprouts at dinner, can add up to big differences in your mobility and independence. Your health is not behind you, it's still in your hands. If this inspired you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more natural health wisdom.